My boss tried to fire me, but I already had his emails printed. I should have seen it coming. The fake smiles. The sudden coldness. The way he stopped CCing me on client updates. But when your boss is the one smiling in your face every day, it's easy to miss the dagger behind his back. I've worked at Edge Creative for 6 years, 6 long years, and I've never had a complaint, never missed a deadline, never lost a client. I even picked up extra work when people quit during the pandemic. But none of that mattered to Marcus. My new boss, or as I now call him, the walking red flag. Marcus joined the company 8 months ago. Tall, polished, Harvard grad. Former consultant, the type who spoke in buzzwords like synergy and optimization. But under all that charm, was a man who couldn't stand a competent woman, especially not one who knew more than him, which I did. At first I thought I was imagining it, the way he interrupted me in meetings, took credit for my ideas, forgot to introduce me to clients. But then it got worse. He started leaving me off important emails, making changes to my projects without telling me. Once, he even told a client I was new and still learning the ropes. I've been here 6 years, he'd been here 6 months. I talked to HR, I really did. But all they said was, document everything. So I did. Every missed email, every accidental exclusion, every passive-aggressive comment. I printed things, I saved things, and I waited, because I knew what was coming, and I was going to be ready. It all came to a head on a Thursday. Marcus called me into a meeting at 4:45 p.m. End of day. Just enough time to ruin a weekend. I walked in, already suspicious. HR was there. So was one of the senior VPs. Marcus smiled like he was giving me a birthday cake. Have a seat, Helena. I sat, folded my hands, stayed quiet. He started with the usual. We appreciate your time here. Then moved to, but there have been concerns. I tilted my head. Concerns? HR jumped in. There's been feedback about missed deadlines. Unprofessional tone with clients. Lack of collaboration. I blinked. That's when Marcus said it. We've decided to let you go. Like it was already done. Like I was just supposed to nod and pack my things. But I didn't move. Instead I reached into my bag and pulled out a thick manila envelope. What's that? Marcus asked, his smile twitching. I slid it across the table. Documentation, I said. Inside. Printouts of every email, meeting notes, client feedback praising my work, screenshots of where Marcus took credit for my ideas, dates, receipts, all of it. HR opened the envelope, started flipping. The VP leaned forward. This is extensive. I nodded. I was advised to document everything. Marcus shifted in his seat. This is a mischaracterization. I didn't even look at him. I looked at HR. I'm not resigning. And I'm not accepting a termination based on lies. The room fell quiet. HR cleared her throat. We'll need to review all of this before making the final decision. I stood up calmly. I'll wait. And I left the room. I didn't cry. I didn't panic. I went back to my desk and got back to work. The fallout came fast. By Monday morning, Marcus was placed on administrative leave. Turns out I wasn't the only one. 2 other women in the department came forward. He'd done the same thing to them. Tried to bury them under fake feedback and performance reviews. HR was stunned. They launched a full internal investigation. Week later, Marcus was gone. Fired. No farewell party. No sympathy. Just gone. They called me into HR again, but this time to apologize. And offer me a promotion. I said yes, but I didn't smile until I walked back into my office. My office. With a door and a view and my name on the plaque. They say revenge is best served cold, but I say it's best served printed. *B. Careful what you fight for. Because when you win, you're expected to lead. And when you lead, you'll be watched, judged, tested, picked apart. And I was ready for it. Or so I thought. The day Marcus was fired, I became the woman who fought back. And when I got promoted, that changed too. Now I was the woman who won. Sounds powerful, right? But the truth? It was lonely. Because in corporate life, people don't like watching you climb. Especially when they thought you were beneath them. It started with the looks, the forced congratulations. The whispered hallway gossip. I pretended not to hear. She only got the job because of what happened. She's not really leadership material. She just played the victim. I could hear it all, but I kept my head high. Smile sharp, peals louder than the doubt around me. On my first official day as associate director, I walked into a leadership meeting. That room full of men, some older than me, some younger, all were in the same smug smirk. One of them, Jeff, leaned back and said, "So Elena, what's your big vision for the team now?" It wasn't a real question. It was a test. I didn't blink. Clarity, accountability, and no more. Gaslighting in the name of management. The room went silent. Then one woman in the back smiled. I saw her, and I knew, not everyone was against me. I got to work fast, cleaned up broken workflows, streamlined the team structure, rebuilt trust. With the clients Marcus nearly lost, people noticed, even the doubters, but with success came new problems. 2 months in, I noticed weird things. Files I didn't move removed, client decks mysteriously missing slides, emails sent from my account that I didn't write. At first, I blamed myself. Lack of sleep, stress. But then, I found the security log. And saw it. Someone logged into my system after hours. From inside the office. My blood ran cold. I went to IT quietly, asked for access logs. Change history. They hesitated at first. But when I mentioned legal protection, they gave me everything. And there it was. Logins for Noah's credentials. Noah was a project manager, friendly, funny, always smiling when I passed, but clearly, he wasn't smiling behind my back. I didn't confront him, not right away. Waited. Watched. Set a trap. I created a fake document, labeled it Client Bonus Payout Schedule, confidential. Saved it on the shared drive, and waited. Within 48 hours, it was forwarded to Jeff. The same man who'd questioned me in that meeting. But here's the thing. The file was fake. And I had it watermarked with a hidden tracker. So when Jeff brought it up in a leadership call, acting surprised, I called him out. Interesting you mentioned that file, Jeff. I never shared it. His face froze. I turned to the screen, shared the access logs. And for good measure, I dropped a screenshot of the metadata, showing Noah's username. Complete silence. Then Jeff stammered. There must be a mistake. I looked dead at the camera. No, there's just a problem with integrity. HR was looped in. Noah was suspended. Jeff got a formal warning. Neither denied it. And both of them stopped speaking to me entirely, which was fine. I wasn't there to make friends. I was there to protect my team and myself. But one thing still bothered me. Why? Why go through so much effort to sabotage me? One night I stayed late. Just thinking, going through old folders, trying to spot patterns. And then I found it. A chain of emails forwarded between Marcus, Jeff, and Noah. From 6 months before Marcus was fired, talking about replacing the old guard, restructuring the company with younger, hungrier leadership. And my name was on a list titled Low Flexibility Staff, Phase Out. Low Flexibility, that's what they called me, because I wouldn't play games, because I knew my worth, because I refused to be quiet. I sat there for a while, staring at the screen. Then I printed every page, not because I needed them, but because it reminded me of who I was dealing with. And how far I'd come. The next morning, I locked my office door. And wrote a memo. To HR, the executive team, and the CEO. I titled it, Workplace Retaliation, a Pattern of Sabotage and Gender Bias. Inside, everything. The old emails, the access logs, the false narratives, all of it. And this time, I didn't wait. I hit send and went to lunch. What happened next shocked me. I expected another investigation, a quiet suspension, maybe a hushed firing, but instead, the CEO called me directly. Elena, he said, I want to apologize. We've failed you and others. I'm flying in next week. I'd like to meet. I said yes. And then I sat back, because this wasn't just about me anymore. It was about every woman who'd been silenced. Dismissed, discredited, just like I had been. When the CEO arrived, he didn't bring HR. He brought a lawyer and a brand new offer. We want you to lead our new Equity and Accountability Council. We want to pay you more, and we want to listen. I sat there for a moment. Then said something I'd never said before. I'll think about it. Because this time, I held the power. My boss tried to fire me, but I already had his emails printed. I said I'd think about it. Not because I was unsure, but because I wanted them to wait. Just like I waited for years. To be seen, to be respected, to be heard. They wanted me to fix a broken culture. The same culture that almost broke me. And you know what? I said yes, but on one condition. I'm not here to clean up your mess. I'm here to build something new. You stay out of the way. The CEO nodded. He meant it. At least for now. So that's how I became the Director of Accountability and Culture. Fancy title, right? But the work was dirty. Messy. Uncomfortable. Which meant it was real. I started by interviewing people privately, not just women. Everyone. From interns to execs. And the stories poured in. Whispers about being overworked, passed over, threatened, talked down to, and then came the silences, the people too, afraid to speak at all, that told me even more. This place had rot in the walls. I formed a team of 5. Pick. 1 was Maya, quiet, brilliant, and overlooked. For years. Another was Tariq, funny, fierce, and tired of corporate FAKENESS. I gave them one instruction: we're not here to make people comfortable. We're here to make things clear. And we did. Fast. First, we rewrote the company values, removed the jargon, added rules with teeth. We built a confidential reporting system that actually worked. One click. No cover ups. No middlemen. Then we reviewed every promotion made in the last 3 years. Guess what we found? 85% of promotions had gone to men, even though 70% of top performers were women or minorities. We sent the report directly to the board. No edits. No sugarcoating. It caused an earthquake. Some people quit, some were fired, some begged to be transferred. Some started listening. Really listening, for the first time ever, but not everyone was happy. Some called it a witch hunt. Others whispered I was drunk with power. One VP actually said, "What's next? We apologize for every time we made a joke." To which I said, only if the joke was punching down, or costing us talent, or a lawsuit. He shut up fast. It wasn't just about cleaning house. It was about lighting the whole place better. So no one had to hide in shadows again. Then came the hardest part. I was asked to train my replacement, not for this role, but for my old one, associate director, and guess who applied? Sophie, a junior associate who used to bring Marcus's coffee. I remembered her as shy, quiet, unsure, but in her interview, she was sharp, smart, stronger than I ever expected. I asked her, "Why do you want this role?" She said, "Because I've seen how this place can eat women alive, and I want to be part of the change, not just a complaint." I gave her the job. With zero hesitation. On her first day, I left a note on her desk. It said, "Never shrink. Never apologize for being brilliant. And if they ever try you, print the emails." She laughed when she read it, then hugged me. Things kept improving. Salaries adjusted, benefits enhanced, bias training thrown out. We replaced it with real conversations led by real people, not actors, not consultants. Employees telling the truth about the pressure, the pain, the survival. It was raw, that it was honest, that it was human, and it worked. But then came the call from Marcus. Him. He'd heard about my new role, said he respected the way I handled things, said he learned a lot. Then he asked, "Do you think there's a way back in for me?" I took a breath, then said calmly, "There's always a way forward, Marcus. Just not through me." And hung up. No anger. Just boundaries. Real ones. 6 months into the new role, we had our first real all-hands town hall. I was asked to speak. So I stepped up to the mic, looked out at the crowd. Then said, "I used to be scared of this place. I don't say that for sympathy. I say that because fear thrives in silence, and I'm not afraid anymore. None of us should be. That's what we're building here. A place where voices don't get filtered, where mistakes don't become patterns, where power isn't about control, but about responsibility." The room went quiet. Then exploded in applause. For me. But for the moment. The shift, the truth. Afterward, Sophie came up to me. "Did you ever think," she said, "when you printed those emails, it would lead to all this?" I smiled. Honestly, no. But I knew I wasn't going to let anyone erase me. She nodded. "I won't either." And just like that, I saw it happen. The baton was passed, not because I was done, but because someone else was ready. And I was proud. 1 year later, I was promoted again, VP of People and Policy, new office. New title, Seeing Fire. And sometimes when I walk the halls, I still hear whispers, but they're different now. They say, "She doesn't play. She changed everything. She made it safe." And every once in a while, someone stops me and says, "Thank you for not letting them get away with it." And I always say the same thing: I didn't do it alone, I just went first. Leadership isn't about titles. It's about standing up even when it's easier to stay quiet. And when you lead long enough, you'll face something bigger than yourself. For me, that moment came 9 months after my promotion, when someone knocked on my door and handed me an envelope. No name, no return address. Just one word on the front: urgent. I opened it. Inside, photos, documents, screenshots. Of internal memos, Slack messages, expense reports, all pointing to one thing: a major cover-up. And it didn't just involve managers. It went all the way up to an executive board member. My blood ran cold. The whistleblower didn't name themselves, but they left a note: "I don't trust anyone else. You made it safe once. Please don't let them bury this." I stared at the photos again. One image showed invoices being rerouted. Another, a message where a junior staffer was blamed for an executive's mistake. It was clear. Someone was falsifying numbers to hide losses, and throwing employees under the bus to protect themselves. I called Maya, my right hand, showed her the documents. She didn't blink. We dig. So we started quietly, audit logs, deleted files, hidden spreadsheets. We didn't tell Lego, we didn't tell the board, not yet, because we needed to be sure. One night, Maya called me at 2 a.m. I found it. She said, "What? The link?" Turns out a VP named Connor had been redirecting department funds into dummy projects. Then writing off losses under fake initiatives. For 2 years. And when someone asked questions, he blamed interns, assistants who couldn't fight back. Connor wasn't just a VP. He was on track to be CEO. I sat at my desk all night. Thinking that if I brought this forward, I wouldn't just shake the system, I'd crack it wide open, and the backlash would be fierce. But if I didn't, I'd become just another gatekeeper, one who looked the other way. So I made the call to the CEO. I said, "You need to see something, and you need to see it in person." He flew in the next day. We laid out the evidence, every receipt, every lie, every person hurt by the cover-up. He looked shocked, disgusted, then said something I'll never forget. "You're asking me to burn down my own board." And I replied, "No, I'm asking you to save your company." Connor was confronted. He denied it, of course, said the documents were doctored, said I had a vendetta, even tried to pull the gender card. "This is a power play. She's trying to run me out." But the data didn't lie. And neither did the people. Because once word got out that we were investigating, more employees came forward, emails, texts, voice notes. Connor had bullied dozens of people into silence. One assistant even recorded a meeting where he told her, "Take the fall, or I'll make sure you never work again." Within a week, the board met. And for the first time in company history, a sitting executive was fired for cause. No golden parachute. No quiet exit. They released a full statement, public, transparent. It made headlines, and internally, it made waves. Some people panicked. What if clients pull out? What if investors lose confidence? I stood at the next company-wide meeting and said, "Let them see who we really are, not perfect, but honest." Because culture without truth is just a slogan. People clapped. Some even cried. It felt like we'd done the impossible. But not everyone celebrated. A few old guard board members turned icy. One of them cornered me at a leadership dinner. "I hope you know what you've started," he said. Smiled, "I do." Then walked away. A week later, I received another envelope. This one wasn't anonymous. It was from HR. Inside, a formal complaint against me, filed by, no surprise, one of the remaining board members, claiming I weaponized influence and intimidated staff. It was a chess move, a retaliation wrapped in paperwork. I wasn't scared, but I was tired. So tired. I didn't hide it from my team. I called them in, laid out the complaint, and told them the truth. "I'm not going anywhere," I said. "But if they force my hand, I want you all to keep going." Maya grabbed my hand. "We're not letting them take this." The company launched an investigation, external. This time, lawyers, auditors, third-party ethics panel. It dragged on for weeks. I kept working, kept building. But inside, I waited. For the next blow, for the fallout, but it never came. Because the final report cleared me completely. Not only that, it validated every step I'd taken. From the whistleblower case to the internal audit, to Connor's firing, the investigator's words. In an environment where fear ruled for years, this employee chose courage over comfort, and helped transform a culture from the inside out. The board member who filed the complaint resigned. Quietly. No party. No goodbye. Just a footnote. In a much bigger story, when the report went public, my inbox overflowed. From staff, from clients, even from people outside the company. They wrote things like, "You made me feel seen. I stayed in my job because of you. I finally reported what happened to me." I printed every message, put them in a folder on my shelf, labeled it, "The Real Work." Because that's what this was, not a title, not a fight, a movement. When we built from the ashes. One email at a time. Sophie stopped by my office that afternoon. She said, "You okay?" I nodded, exhausted, but standing. She smiled, then handed me a note. It was folded tight. Inside it said, "I'm your anonymous whistleblower. Thank you for protecting me, even when you didn't know who I was." I looked up. She winked. "I'm ready for the next fight." And just like that, I knew we were just getting started. After the investigation cleared my name, I thought I'd finally breathe again. But leadership, real leadership, doesn't give you peace. It gives you choices. Big, hard, public choices. And mine was coming faster than I expected. 2 weeks after the final report, I got an email from a national women's business network. They wanted me to speak, on stage, love with cameras topic, corporate whistleblowing and ethical leadership, one woman's journey. They wanted me, the woman who was almost erased, now being handed a microphone in front of thousands. I froze. Half of me was proud, the other half terrified, because going public meant everyone would know, not just what happened inside the company, but who I became because of it. The scars, the fear, the fury. And the people I exposed would see it too. I called Maya that night, told her everything. She listened, quiet, then said, "You already told the truth when it hurt the most. Why stop now?" She was right, but it wasn't just nerves holding me back. That it was something deeper, something I hadn't told anyone, not even her. 3 days earlier, I'd gotten a letter. No return address. No signature. Inside, a single sentence: "Keep your mouth shut. Some stories aren't yours to tell." Chilling, right? But even worse, there was a photo inside that of me, leaving work, walking alone, taken from across the street. Someone was watching. Someone didn't want me speaking. I didn't tell Maya. Not yet. I needed to think. I needed to be sure that I wasn't being reckless, because this wasn't about ego. This was about truth. And truth comes with a cost. The day before the event, I met with the CEO. He asked if I was still going to speak. I told him about the letter. His face went pale. "I can assign security," he said. "No," I replied. "I don't want fear to follow me. I want justice to follow them." He nodded. And for the first time, I knew he really understood what this meant, not just for me, but for the company's future. The morning of the event, I stood backstage. Mic clipped, palms sweating, heart pounding. My photo was on the screen. The audience, thousands. Business leaders, media, lawmakers. No turning back now. The host introduced me, and I walked out, straight into the light. I looked around, took a deep breath, and began. 2 years ago, I was almost fired for doing my job too well. I found evidence, printed emails, challenged a system that protected power over people. They called me dramatic, emotional, difficult. But I wasn't any of those things. I was right. The room went still. No typing, no whispering. Just listening. I kept going. What happened next is what happens to a lot of women. They tried to make me disappear. But instead, I became someone impossible to ignore. I told them about the internal sabotage, the fake complaints, the whistleblower, Connor. Everything. Even the photo, even the threat. Because when you shine a light, some people panic. But the brave, they keep walking. The applause at the end was thunder. Not for me. But for the truth, for the power of saying what others are too afraid to say. I stepped off stage, heart racing. And then I saw her. In the corner. Sophie. Clapping. Tears in her eyes. She mouthed, "You did it." And in that moment, I didn't feel scared anymore. But that high didn't last long, because when I returned to work the next day, something was wrong. My office door was open. Laptop missing. Papers scattered. A sticky note on my desk. "Next time, listen, no. Name. No proof, just a warning. Security footage showed nothing. Whoever did it knew the blind spots. HR wanted to investigate quietly. I said no. You don't fix silence with more silence. We brought in outside cybersecurity, locked down every file, changed every password, and I filed a police report, because this wasn't just workplace harassment anymore. It was criminal. Then it hit me. Someone from the inside was still pulling strings. Someone wanted me gone, not just fired. Silence. For good. And that's when I made my hardest decision yet. To go public again. But this time, not on a stage. On record. In writing. With names. Dates. Documents. Photos. I worked with a journalist from a major outlet, verified every fact, protected every source, and we published a full report. Inside the corporate war, how one woman's truth sparked a reckoning. It went viral. Fast and messy. There were resignations, lawsuits, shareholder calls, but there was also something else, a wave of women coming forward, not just from my company, but from others. Banks, tech firms, law offices. All saying the same thing. Her story is my story too. And finally, I wasn't alone. Back at work, Maya walked into my office. Set down a box. "What's that?" I asked. She smiled, opened it. Inside was my old badge from my first job, before the promotions, before the trauma. And on top of it, a note: "You've come full circle, but you never forgot who you were." I felt tears rise, not because I was broken, but because I survived, and survival, that's not weakness. It's proof that truth matters, that one voice, even one, can start a storm. And if that voice keeps rising, others will too. They say when the dust settles, you'll see who you really are. For me, that moment came a month after the article dropped. The company was still shaking, but not collapsing. Rebuilding. Leadership had changed. A new ethics committee was formed, and this time, real people had real power. I should have felt proud. Victorious. But instead, I felt done, not because I was tired, but because my purpose here was complete. I had walked into that office years ago as a woman who wanted to do her job. I was nearly destroyed for it, but I didn't just survive. I transformed it. And now, it was time to move on. I drafted my resignation late one night, not because I was running, but because I was ready to lead somewhere else. In my own way, with my own rules. I called Maya in the morning. Told her first. She didn't cry, didn't panic. She just smiled. You gave this place a backbone, she said. Now go build the next one. Before I left, I had one last meeting with the CEO. Handed him the letter. He sighed. Not surprised, he said, but I'm still sad to see you go. I nodded. You don't need me anymore, that's a good thing. He shook my hand, then pulled me in for a hug. You reminded us how to care, even when it hurt. I spent my final day walking the floors. Saying quiet goodbyes. Leaving handwritten notes. One on Sophie's desk. It said, don't wait for permission, make the room. Then hold the door open for someone else. She cried when she read it, then hugged me like a sister. I stepped out of that building not as a victim or a hero, but as a woman who took her power back and shared it loudly, unapologetically. So where did I go? I launched my own organization, a nonprofit, called the Receipts Project, dedicated to helping women document, expose, and survive corporate abuse. We don't just print emails. We protect people, teach them how to build paper trails. How to stand their ground. And how to rise, even when the system tries to bury them. Our first case, a woman from a media agency, fired after reporting harassment. They told her she misread the situation, tried to silence her. Until we stepped in. Her story, front page news. She won her case, got reinstated, and now she's one of our board members. We've grown fast. Too fast, some say, but the need is endless. Every week we hear from women and men who are living the same nightmare I once lived, and every time I remember I was them once. Lost, afraid, silenced, but not anymore, not ever again. Last fall, I spoke at a university. Future lawyers, HR leaders, executives. I told them, power doesn't corrupt, cowardice does. When you see something wrong, you speak. You document, you fight, because silence won't save you. It only saves the people hurting you. They stood up when I finished. Clapping. Not for the story. But for the truth. Afterward, a girl approached me. Young, nervous, she said. My boss flirts with me. I don't know what to do. I gave her a card, told her, start writing, dates, times, words. The truth lives in your details. You're not crazy. You're not overreacting. You're just not broken yet. Don't let them break you. Her hands shook when she took the card, but her eyes lit up like someone had finally seen her. Some days, I still feel the weight of it all. The threats, the betrayals, the fear, but mostly, I feel proud. Not of the headlines, not of the title, but of the choice to keep going, to tell the truth. 2. Never shut up when it mattered. A friend once asked me, if you could go back, would you still print those emails? And I said, yes, every single time. Even if it cost me everything, because it gave me myself, and they can't fire that. So this is where my story ends, not in court, not in silence, but with a voice louder than ever, one that started with a single folder, and turned into a revolution. If you're reading this, if you've been hurt, if you've been blamed, if you've been told to let it go, single quotes. Print the emails. Write it down. Speak it out, because the system won't save you, but your truth will. And when you speak it, we'll hear you.